Hi everyone, Teri Wellbrock here. Just taking a moment before today's beautiful episode to say hi. Hi, how are you doing? And to also just give some insights about today's conversation. So, as many of you might know, or some of you might not know, I narrate audiobooks. I have done 7 so far, and it's been such a great learning journey for me. And I love it. Most of the books have been in the healing arena. And this one was the very first book that I did. And it is called The Energy Medicine Solution: Mind Blowing Results for Living an Extraordinary Life. And the lead author, Jacqueline M. Kane, is who's joining me today on the podcast. So, such a great conversation about energy and healing and so much more. Yes, just very much enjoyed one being a part of her project and bringing the book to life in audiobook form. So if you are on Audible or have any credits, please go give it a download. Again, it's called The Energy Medicine Solution, and you can look it up under the author Jacqueline M. Kane, although it was a collective project with many authors contributing their healing solutions. And so, again, perfect fit for the Healing Place podcast. Anything else that I wanted to share with you? So, this morning I met with two of my writing group women, which is always so enjoyable. We're all working on our books, so I'm still working on my teaching memoir, Unicorn Shadows: From Trauma to Triumph, a Healing Guide. So my goal is to have it done by year end, and somewhere out in a publisher's hands or an editor's hands or somewhere. Okay, I think that's all I have for today. So a brief little intro. And now for today's wonderful, informative episode. Enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock. And I know I always say I'm so excited to have these guests with me, but I really am like so super excited to have this guest with me today. So today I have Jacqueline Kane, energy healer and low back pain specialist, supports people in discovering the crucial hidden links between their physical pain and finances and their ability to live a full life. With over 23 years in private practice as a healer and over 40 years in healthcare, Jacqueline has merged her innate wisdom with a multitude of healing modalities to create a unique, results-oriented method of healing. If you're ready to reach your health and wealth goals today, visit www.jacquelinekane.com. And I'm, oh my gosh, so excited. So welcome, Jacqueline.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And just to make sure, that is Jacqueline M.
Uh,
Kane.com.
all right, JacquelineMKane.com. All right. Got it. And I'll make sure everybody to put that link in show notes so you can check it out there. So we connected through the Energy Medicine Solution, which I was just so thrilled to be a part of, and as narrator when the audiobook came out. And I told you before we hit record, I loved narrating it because I learned so much from all of the authors, and you as one of the authors, the lead author as well. So talk to us about this project and how it came to be.
So I learned about Laura DeFranco. She's the publisher. A friend of mine invited me to take one of her writing courses, and one thing led to another. It led us to book writing and being in a few other books. And then I just kept getting this message, um, channeled message, whatever it is. But my guides were like, you have to write about energy. You have to start educating people on energy and how it impacts your health, your wealth, your relationships, and ability to stand in your own power. And so I talked to another friend, because it's a big project when you jump into this being this lead author. And I knew how much work it was going to be. And a part of me didn't want to do it because you got to gather your people, you got to write, it's a lot. But I just kept hearing the message, please start writing because people need to learn and be educated on there's another way to heal, to feel better, to improve our lives that nobody's talking about. So I gathered 24 other amazing people who said yes to the project. We wrote the book, launched it. It became number one in about 12 different Amazon categories, which was so exciting. We were all so excited. And since then, everybody's collaborated and gotten to know each other. And we even put together a retreat last year, which we have the potential to put another retreat on this year. I didn't want this book to just sit on a shelf. I wanted to bring this work and healing modality to people so that people can experience these techniques in a few days and leave feeling amazing. And very soon into the retreat, the attendees were like, when's the next one? When's the next one?
I love this so much because I live on Hilton Head Island and I've been toying with the idea of
Beautiful.
doing a retreat, doing a retreat, doing a retreat. So like I was like, oh my gosh, we need to talk off air and bring a retreat to Hilton Head for this particular because well, one, this is such a healing space, this island. It just has that vibe to it. Lots of healers on island. But you're right. Wow, it's such a needed just redirection for how we approach life. And we are energy, right?
Yes, and people don't understand it that so we're manifesting all the time, right? I hear so many people moan and groan that their health, they're not feeling good, the beliefs that, we just got through the holidays, so everybody's been with your family, extended family, and the elders are like, well, this is what happens when you age. Things don't work right. You need surgery. And I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. I'm almost 60 years old and I don't take medication.
Me either.
Many,
I'm
right?
57. Yeah.
Many of our friends do, right? Like there's a long list that they take. And by the time you get to 60, 70, 80 years old, you're spending more time in a doctor's office than you are enjoying life. And that medication can lead to one thing to another, debilitating. And people are just missing the boat on energy and how easy it can be to do the work and shift and create a whole totally different life for themselves.
Oh gosh. I mean, again, you're singing to the choir with me because I'm telling you, I've talked about it so often on this show and from my personal journey. So we moved into this house on Hilton Head in 2020. And within 6 months of moving in, I had lost 58 pounds. I was very, very sick. I went to the doctor. All of my labs were just crazy out of whack. Like everything was wrong with me. My body was screaming. And I kept crying to my family, I feel like I've been poisoned. I feel like I've been poisoned. Long story short, Western medicine just wasn't helping me. They just, take this pill, take this pill, take this pill. And, let's put a camera down your throat. Let's see why your throat's closing up. Let's see what's going on. I
Mm.
finally found my way by the grace of God to a nutritionist who was
Mhm.
very healing leaning. And she said, Teri, I think you might have mold toxicity. You should check your house. And I was like, our house, it's gorgeous. It's rehabbed. It's beautiful. And she goes, why did they rehab it? And I was like,
Oh.
well, we came to find out it had been condemned for toxic mold. And I was the canary in the coal, not mine. It was in the ductwork. It was behind the drywall. It was under the flooring. And so my body, with my trauma history, was in this weakened, because I lived in the constant state of hyperarousal, was in this very weakened state. And so my body was the one that said, enough.
Ah,
We can't take it. So I, instead of going the med route, said, oh, I need to do some brain rewiring. I need to do obviously binders and detox and all, the healthy way of detoxing my body. But yeah, doing that energy healing work and the meditation and the mindfulness. And it's incredible. And all my labs are back to normal.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's good to know.
I 100% agree with yeah, that if we can make that shift to um, the possibilities that are there for healing ourselves and allowing by feeding ourselves right, and yeah, fueling ourselves and doing the energy work that's needed. So now when you say energy healer, you work with people in individually or groups or both?
I do both. And the work that I do, I use ancestral energy clearing and inner child healing and voice dialogue with the inner saboteur. These are what I have found that have helped people who have tried everything and they've been in pain for 5, 10, 20 years and nothing has worked. And it's because we all have energy that's been passed down to us. Our beliefs, our trauma, all of that gets passed down. And unless you clear it, you're just going to be that hamster on the hamster wheel, creating the same situations over and over again. And so when I experienced an ancestral clearing, it just changed everything for me. And I just constantly like, what is this? What is energy clearing? What is ancestral energy? Like, what is that? And in science and in healthcare, they talk about epigenetics, right? Generational energy. It's the same thing, but there's a specific process to clear that from your system, not just from your own system, but we want to clear it from our children. We want to clear it from those that came before us and those that are going to come after us because we don't want to keep passing down the same limitations.
Yes. And now my understanding, I mean, it really can have an impact on our genetic makeup, meaning that if we have a certain genetic code, that it can flip the switches on and off, correct? When we're able to do that work?
Yeah. So um, we are created in our mother's womb, right? So every emotion she feels, we're feeling that. If for some reason you were in a container of chaos, of heightened awareness. Maybe she was in a really tough relationship for 9 months. You're feeling that stress. Your cells are then created in an energy of stress. Your nervous system, you are born with a heightened nervous system. You then start creating beliefs that it's not safe here. People aren't safe. It's not safe to be you, which will cause you not to speak up. And then we create situations to prove our beliefs true. So your whole life is going to be filled with events and circumstances proving that you can't speak up, that other people are more important. And it just goes on and on and on. So when we pass that energy back in this process and completely clear it, you are then open to receive what's possible for yourself. You are become more authentically you because you are not authentically you if you're carrying all that,
Wow.
right?
You see me here with my mouth hanging open because I'm like, holy moly. I mean, I've talked about ancestral healing, but you explained it in such a way that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's making so much sense because I mean, I know my mom's trauma history and
Mm.
what she was going through when she was pregnant with me. And then I immediately went to, oh my gosh, my children, like I was living in this total state of
Yes.
chaos when pregnant with my kids, and emotionally, mentally, I hadn't yet stepped onto the
Yeah.
healing journey. So yeah, oh my gosh, like I want to
And
send the kids your way.
history repeats itself, right? It's
Yeah.
until we dive into what's the energy that you're creating your day from. Is it one of power and empathy and compassion, or is it victimhood and nothing's working, right? Like, and where did it come from? And like you said, like, what were our mothers during our birth? My mother grew up in Sardinia, Italy during, 1945.
Oh,
So you're talking, and my grandmother, I didn't talk to her enough about what it was like during that. But her husband was away fighting the war, my grandfather, my mother's father, and my grandmother had 3 kids. She had German soldiers walking around her little village, Sardinia, Italy, right? What was that like? So by the time I came along, my mother had a lot of fear. She worried constantly. I also worried constantly. And I just thought it was normal until I got married and my husband's like, I don't worry. I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
How did you not worry? And I got this, right?
Yes.
Um, so it is possible to shift all of that when you have the right modalities. And when you have the right modalities, it happens fast. When you start working with energy, you change it fast, not just for yourself. I've seen things happen very quickly. I've been granted the gift of having a son who is open to doing the work. And when we do it together, wow, the things that just open up for the whole family.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Now, out of curiosity, and this is just on my own personal curiosity, is a father's makeup also have an impact on a
Yeah.
child than genetic, even though they weren't in the womb there with them? I mean, I guess they were in
Yeah.
the room with them.
Well, they added a piece of it, right? It
Yeah,
takes two to to
right,
form
right.
us. So yeah, it's sending back and clearing and healing both sides of our ancestors.
Okay.
And the more family members that do it, the more beneficial it is for the whole family line.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
both are just as important. And our beliefs, where did they come from? All these emotions, these fears, where did they come from? You weren't born. Yes, you were born with them, right? So if we go back all the way to your birth and maybe even which parent are you carrying that energy for, right?
Yes. Yeah. So now, like other emotions, obviously, like rage or extreme anger or hopelessness. I mean, those are also, because I've seen patterns in people where one parent will, you have two parents with totally different approaches to
Yeah,
life and
yeah.
personalities, but a child will emulate one of them and take on those particular traits.
And we take on those traits because a child wants to feel connected. They want to feel connected, especially to their parents. So sometimes the only way to feel connected is to take on that trait and to be part of that energy. When
Wow.
children are born, they watch and they see not by physical eyes, but they sense everything. They know when we're not telling the truth, right? They know, even though we'll say, oh, we're good. They're like, no, you're not. And they sense it. Maybe that's why they're crying. Maybe that's why they're colicky. Not just because maybe they're hungry, but also because they sense our deepest wounds. When I started doing this work and my son was young at the time, he would say things and I'm like, where did that come from? And then years when I was on my healing journey and I was in therapy, those words came out of my mouth, right? So they're empathic. They're in our minds. They know how we feel. They're here to help us get in touch with our emotions.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're just so, it's just, wow, my brain's going boom. And because I'm thinking to my own childhood, and I was the peacekeeper in our family. My mom
Mm.
was a severe alcoholic. My dad struggled with mental health. And so I remember just wanting everything to be peaceful for my mom, like just having this, like I knew she was just lost in her pain, and obviously diving into the bottle to satiate that pain. But yeah, I like was flashing back to like this little 3 and 4 year old me and just wanting to make it peaceful, wanting like that's just the word that keeps coming to mind. Like I wanted her life to be peaceful and didn't know how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were a child, but you took on that role as I'm going to help my mom. I'm
Yeah.
going to be the one to make my mom happy today, right? And how many of us have done that? We gave up our childhood to take care of, to try to make our moms happy or our dads, right? And back then they didn't talk about these emotions. All they had was alcohol or food because they were living the trauma. They were living, whether it was war or whether it was depression. I mean, they had it really tough, really tough. Why talk about it? They were
Right.
trying to suppress it and move on, but they were carrying the pain.
Yes.
So by the
Well,
time we came along, right, we felt that pain.
for sure. I remember when my mom was 82, standing at the foot of a hospital bed in an emergency room. She had been on a drinking binge, which was her MO. She'd drink nonstop for 5 days, not eat, get very,
Yeah,
very ill, pass out, end up in the hospital, detox. That was the
yeah,
pattern.
that's better.
And so standing at the bottom of the hospital bed, and I had already done my healing work and still on the journey, obviously, but had been doing the podcast for a few years. And I just sobbing, standing at the bottom of that hospital bed. And I said, Mom, you have got to deal with your childhood trauma. Like it is time that you do. That is why you are, because she said, I don't know why I keep drinking. I don't know why. Like she was almost like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
And so she unleashed, my sister was standing next to me, unleashed 82 years of this
trauma.
thing this I call it negative energy that she had
Yeah,
stored away in her body that she didn't know how to process as this little kid of horrors, absolute horrors that had happened to her as a young child. And I just remember thinking, holy moly, like this lady, here she is, 82 years old. Well, it took her a little bit after that, but she stopped drinking and she
oh,
went on an almost 3 year sobriety journey. Um,
what a gift you gave her.
oh, thank you. Well, I truly feel our relationship blossomed. So much forgiveness work happened. It
Yeah,
was just, it was a gift for me too. I'm getting a little teary eyed because to be able to not just blossom our mother-daughter relationship but our friendship and
yeah,
for her to be able to finally do that healing work. And so I always say, hashtag never too late because it's she was in her 80s and doing the healing work and willing to do the
yeah,
healing work and talk
yeah.
about it. And so yeah, I'm super proud of her. Yeah.
One of my one of my favorite clients is like 80 years old,
Oh,
and she was in pain for 50 years before she started doing the work, and now she swears by it, and
no.
it's done more for her than the surgery. She's had 9 surgeries in her lifetime that still left her with physical pain. And she's doing better now than she's ever done before. Yeah. It
Oh,
is
that's so
never too late.
amazing.
Never too
Yes.
late.
Yes. Well, again, I've had friends who said to me too, I always wanted to do this with my life, or I always wanted to do that. And I'm like, well, then do it. You can be 70 and get your PhD. It doesn't matter. Like, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And how good you'll feel when you did it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh. How are we doing on time? Oh my gosh, we're already at 10:30. Holy moly. Well, I could sit and talk to you for hours, probably days. So I certainly wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about anything we haven't had a chance to touch upon yet.
Yeah. And I think it's super important what I have seen. Um, so I have seen ancestral energy when it's cleared. It really impacts 4 areas: your health, your wealth, your relationships, and ability to stand in your power. So if you're listening to this and you've tried everything, this could be the missing link that's stopping you from really creating the life you desire. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And let's go over for just a second because I do want to talk about the wealth part of it. I read a book recently, and it was speaking to because I know or knew I had an energy block when it came to money. My dad, I grew up very Catholic. My dad was a Jesuit brother for 8 years in the seminary before leaving and marrying my mom. And so I grew up with this message of, rich people are greedy and money is the root of all evil. And, Jesus flipped the table of the, Pharisees that were, the tax collectors were horrible. And it was just, I was constantly getting this message. And then my mom was also of that mentality of, oh, you're supposed to give your money away to those who are less fortunate and don't have as much. And it's always, and so I knew I had this block, like, oh, I can never ask for income for doing this soul work that I do. Like people have said,
Right.
have you monetized the podcast? Like, do you have advertisers? Do you do anything? And I'm like, no, 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 because it was like this guilt that was weighing me down. I've
Yes.
done a lot of clearing work. So
Good.
is that what you do? Like you help people along that journey?
Yeah, I love working with business owners and holistic practitioners who just have tried so many things and their business is not where they want it to be. Money is energy. And so was that energy passed down again? Was it, did you experience something, or did your parents constantly say all those beliefs that you just mentioned? And is it still living out in your life? So I'm also what's called a tapping into wealth coach. So we dive into the money blocks that people carry. And also, the work I do with the inner saboteur is huge. When you get in touch with your inner saboteur and have a conversation, things shift immediately because these energies inside of us are so strong. They're keeping us safe, but in the wrong way. And so when we shift them and release the hold they have on us, money shows up, the right, if you're having health issues, the right doctors and opportunities show up where we were kind of blocking it before.
Wow, I just was having a conversation with someone and said, do you mind if I ask you just a brutally honest question? This person was like, of course. And I said, why do you think you keep self-sabotaging?
Yeah.
Because I just noticed this pattern with them and they were like, wow, that is a really good question. And I don't know, like I can't stop myself. And so, yeah, hearing you say inner saboteur, it's
It's
fascinating to
always
me.
it's always because we're trying to keep ourselves safe. And safe could be if you have a business and you really want to create more visibility, but you've lived a life where you being seen caused trauma or abuse, then being seen for you is not safe. So there's a part of you that's going to sabotage your success.
Ooh, that's so
Right?
good. Oh my
Right?
goodness.
So we have to heal the inner child. We have to clear the ancestral energy so that when you are ready to do that business, you're going to be yourself and you're going to be happy to speak and be on podcasts and do all these things that we need to do to have a business and make money.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I've been writing my memoir for 10 years and everybody keeps saying, when are you going to finish that book, Teri? When is it good? And I'm like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I thought, when my mom passed, she put her final stamp of approval on it because I said, Mom is going to include our uglies in it. So she was like, no, 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 it needs to go out. All right. And it is so fun. Like you just said that. And it was just another one of those, ding, 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 ding moments because yeah, wow, putting our truths out there into the universe. Talk about being seen. Holy moly.
Absolutely. Yeah, things will come up when well, and you're going to you shared that you were going to be a lead author, right?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Stepping into that role, being that leader is a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm so excited by that and the possibilities. And
Yeah.
again, I just kudos to you for taking it on and putting this amazing book out there. And again, I feel blessed to have been a small part of it on the audiobook. arena. So yeah, everybody go download it. If you have those Audible credits, go out there and download it.
It's a
Oh,
great, great book. People are getting benefits just by reading the book. So
yeah. Well,
yeah,
what a great collection of authors that, yeah, contributed and shared their healing wisdom. And it's just, again, I learned a lot myself just narrating it. So yeah.
awesome.
All right. So how do folks get in touch with you? Where do they find you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, JacquelineMKane.com, JacquelineMKane.com. And you can reach out to me. My phone is 860-307-0232, and on all social media platforms.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's just been such a pleasure. Again, I could sit in here and talk to you for hours on end. So thank you for, well, one, joining me here on the show today, but two, the healing work you do. It's so very needed and just such a gift to the world. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and for all that you did for our book to be on audio.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to thank you again for being a part of this healing space and my hashtag hope for healing journey. Thank you for sharing, liking, inviting others to join, listening in. You've really helped this show blossom. It has now been downloaded in 136 countries and is in the top 2% globally out of 3.2 million shows, which is just amazing. And it's all because of you and your tuning in and inviting others and sharing and liking and loving. And your reviews on Apple really help too. My goal is to hit 100 5-star reviews by the end of the year. And I am closing in on that. So if you are listening in on Apple or Apple Podcasts, please go and rate the show and leave a review if you absolutely love it. And I would be most appreciative. Also, if you would like to receive my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, please be sure to go to teriwellbrock.com. It's Teri, just one R, WELLBROCK.com. And I have a gift to send you for signing up for that monthly Hope for Healing newsletter. Plus, there are many other resources listed on that page, including a resource library. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.